The Evolution of Flags. Episode 1, South America. Let's start with Argentina. Like many countries on this list, it was originally a part of the Spanish Empire, until revolution struck in 1812 and we were introduced to the country's classic blue and white colors. 6 years later, the Sun of May, inspired by the Incan god Inti, was added to the flag for the May Revolution.
Hola che, ¿todo bien?
The flag wasn't always blue either, becoming a dark purple during the Argentine Confederation. During this time, 4 Phrygian caps were added to the flag for liberty. These changes were eventually reversed, leaving the flag of today with its blue stripes and its shining sun. The next flag on our list is Bolivia, which, like Argentina, was also a part of the Spanish Empire. In 1825, its green and red identity was first seen on a flag with a golden star in its center. The state version of this flag, Bandera Mayor, differed by having 5 stars instead of 1. In 1831, a gold band was added to the civil flag, and on the other hand, the state flag was symmetrical and had a crest in the middle. A few years later, Bolivia formed a confederation with Peru. Its red flag wasn't flown for long, as they returned to their old tricolor only 5 years later. Then, the red and gold switched places, forming the flag that Bolivia flies today, with an Andean condor holding the coat of arms. And in 2009, the Huipala, representing the natives, was made an official flag of Bolivia as well. The next former Spanish colony, originally represented by the Cross of Burgundy and then by 2 more Spanish flags, is Venezuela. In 1785, the Captaincy General of Venezuela was formed to provide more autonomy from Spain, but that wasn't enough. Venezuela fought for freedom, flying a beautiful tricolor, which inspired not just Venezuela's flag, but Ecuador's and Colombia's too. Later, the top band was extended, and a coat of arms was added, with an indigenous woman and a pet croc overlooking the Caribbean Sea. The Second Republic's flag had a menacing nickname, the Flag of War to the Death. The third one brought back the tricolor, but added 8 stars on top. And then the state of Venezuela replaced them with an intricate coat of arms. And then another one. The stars then came back, but this time more than doubled, until they shrunk back down to 7, for the 7 signatories to the Venezuelan Declaration of Independence. And in 2006, President Hugo Chavez infamously added an extra star for Guyana. Moving on to the country with an endless coast, Chile. Before I show you the Spanish flags you've seen many times already, the native Mapuche raised something else. The 8-pointed star flew in battle against the Spaniards, but the Spanish, raising their Cross of Burgundy, won. At the onset of independence, a new flag was flown, nicknamed the Old Fatherland. In some versions, the colors were arranged differently, with the Red Cross of Santiago added to the corner. Chilean victory led to a period known as the New Fatherland, and with it came a new flag. This design also had a variant with a star in the middle. This star became an icon for Chile, moving to the top left corner in their flag of independence, and remaining there since the 1800s. Now let's move further east to Uruguay. You may not know this, but the country actually has 3 official flags, each taken from a different part of their history. Uruguay is another former Spanish colony, and like Argentina, another country to fly the flag of Macha. This flag was later darkened, and 2 red bands were added for the League of the Free Peoples. These bands were replaced by a single diagonal stripe, producing the first of Uruguay's 3 official flags. Uruguayan blue was then replaced by Brazilian green as they briefly annexed the country. But Uruguay fought back, declaring independence with a new blue, white and red flag, inscribed "Freedom or Death." This is the second of Uruguay's official flags. But what about their official flag? The country adopted the Sun of May to represent the May Revolution against the Spanish, while the rest was inspired by the flag of Macha with stripes of white and blue. But unlike Argentina, Uruguay has many more. In fact, there are 9 stripes for the 9 original departments of Uruguay, like the US has with their 13 colonies. The next country on our list is Peru. Founded over the heartland of the Incan Empire with its serpent banner. The empire was then conquered by Spain, but their strong roots led to rebellion, with their first revolt started by Tupac. Yeah, Tupac. Amaru II, who re-raised the Incan standard. This rebellion was unfortunately crushed, but a few years later, British-born General Miller hoisted a new flag for the country. When the Republic was founded, a new diagonal design was flown, inspired by the flamingo. Later, the diamond was replaced by two red bands with Inti in its center, like an alternate Argentina. But surprisingly, it was flipped, due to its similarity with another flag, Spain, believe it or not. And a few years later, the sun was replaced with Peru's new coat of arms. From 1836 to 1839, Peru was split into North and South, with the South adopting a new flag. These two new states joined with Bolivia to form the Peru-Bolivian Confederation. And once dissolved, Peru returned to its old new self. Okay, you've had enough of me starting with the Spanish, I know. So how about the Portuguese? That's right, it's time for Brazil. The Portuguese began to colonize Brazil in the early 1500s. 100 years later, another country, the Netherlands, also ran colonies in the area. When the Portuguese ousted the Dutch, they created this flag for the heir to their throne, known as the Prince of Brazil. During the Napoleonic Wars, Portuguese royalty fled to Brazil, making it co-equal with Portugal itself. The unified kingdom had this flag, while Brazil's own had a blue background with a gold sphere. Eventually, Brazil gained independence and adopted its iconic green and yellow color scheme from the houses of its new emperor and empress. Yellow for the House of Habsburg and green for the House of Braganza. Slight modifications were made over time until the empire became a republic. At first, the Republic of the United States of Brazil planned their flag to be like another United States. But eventually they decided to keep continuity, and so the iconic diamond remained. The design did change though, adding the text Order and Progress and 21 stars for the country's 21 states. As time moved on, more states were added, and so more stars fell onto the flag, coming together to form the night sky as seen from Brazil. Okay, so that was a fun detour, but now we're back to our Spanish colonies. This country started off with a name that's quite distinct to what we all know as today. New Granada, aka Colombia. During the Napoleonic Wars, the state of Cundinamarca replaced the flag with a tricolor with a condor in its center. At the same time, the United Provinces of New Granada also declared independence, with this unique design, simplified to this. In 1819, Gran Colombia was formed. It encompassed Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela and more, with a slightly different tricolor which is now shared by all these countries today. The flag had three different coats of arms. First, an indigenous woman overlooking the sea. Then an Andean condor flew in to replace it, flaunting a sword in the sky. And then finally a third one, this time centered, with wreaths of fruit surrounding an axe. Gran Colombia soon dissolved into four separate states, with the Republic of New Granada covering what is now Colombia. This new republic twisted the tricolor and added 9 stars in its center. Then in 1861, Colombia got its final change when the horizontal stripes of the Marinda returned, but with the gold bar now twice the size of the others. Our next country, Suriname, wasn't colonized by the Spanish or by the Portuguese, but by the Dutch. However, like every country in South America, it existed before the colonizers. And so a new flag was proposed to represent the indigenous natives, but unfortunately this wasn't accepted. And it took 100 years for Suriname to finally get its own flag, with 5 stars representing its 5 major ethnic groups joined together in harmony. However, to some, this only emphasized ethnic differences. So in 1975, when Suriname finally gained independence, 5 stars turned to 1, on a green, red and white background. Another South American country we haven't seen yet is France. But France is in Europe, right? Well, it is, but French Guiana is also technically France. They have French passports, use euros, and have the same flag. But an alternative yellow and green design has been proposed to represent the nation. But there isn't just one Guiana. Let's move north to British Guiana, or Guyana. Like many other British colonies, Guyana's flag was no different, having the Union Jack in the top left corner and Guyana's coat of arms, a naval ship, on the other side. In the 60s, Guyana finally gained independence, and a new flag was proposed, known as the Golden Arrowhead. The triangular design was created by American vexillologist Whitney Smith and has remained Guyana's flag ever since. Okay, so I hope you had a good break from the former Spanish colonies, because now we're back, but with a twist. When fighting for independence, an Ecuadorian rebellion raised the reverse Spanish cross. Imagine that in battle. In 1820, a new flag with 5 horizontal stripes and 3 stars was flown. This flag was later adopted by the Guayas province. As you saw earlier, Ecuador was a part of Gran Colombia and flew a yellow, blue and red tricolor. The blue and white we saw was used in their coat of arms. The March Revolution brought back these colors entirely as a vertical tricolor, first with 3 stars, then with 4 more for its 7 provinces. In 1860, De Miranda's flag was reinstated, and then the final version was made 40 years later. Now for the last country on our list, Paraguay. The first flags I'll share of its time as a Spanish colony, with the cross of the Spanish Empire, then the white flag of the Spanish Navy, and the red and yellow flag of the Kingdom of Spain. The Spanish coat of arms remained in Paraguay's first flag, with the red replaced with a dark blue. This blue filled their next flag entirely, and a star was added to the top left corner. Paraguay then ditched the star for a bit for 3 different tricolors, until it returned in a lighter shade. In 1842, Paraguay finally landed on the flag design they still use today, of red, white and blue. This flag was inspired by France, surprisingly not the Netherlands, though the flag of France was inspired by the Netherlands. This flag is unique. It has 2 different designs on the front and the back. The front has a 5-pointed star surrounded by a green wreath tied with ribbons, and the back has a proud lion wearing a Phrygian cap with the text Peace and Justice. As you can see, the coat of arms has changed quite a few times throughout history, but the main design remained a constant, leading to a minimalist version of what we had in 1842. And that's all, thanks for watching. Let me know what country you're from and what you want to see next. And if you like this one, check out this other video.